Organize, agitate, educate, must be our war cry. I declare to you that woman must not depend upon the protection of man but must be taught to protect herself, and there I take my stand. The real milestones are less prepossessing. Failure is impossible. For every betrayed woman, there is always the betrayer, man. Our job is not to make young women grateful. It is to make them ungrateful so they keep going. Gratitude never radicalized anybody. I distrust those people who know so well what God wants them to do because I notice it always coincides with their own desires. The women who will not be ruled must live without marriage. It is a poor rule that won't work more ways than one. Work and worship are one with me. What you should do is to say to outsiders that a Christian has neither more nor less rights in our association than an atheist. The worst enemy women have is in the pulpit. I am like a snowball, the further I am rolled the more I gain. They threw things at me then but they were not roses. Sooner or later we all discover that the important moments in life are not the great goals achieved. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. Forget conventionalisms, forget what the world thinks of you stepping out of your place. I think the girl who is able to earn her own living and pay her own way should be as happy as anybody on earth. The day may be approaching when the whole world will recognize woman as the equal of man. The true republic, men, their rights, and nothing more, women, their rights, and nothing less. I don't want to die as long as I can work. The minute I cannot, I want to go. The only chance women have for justice in this country is to violate the law, as I have done, and as I shall continue to do. His love, his chivalry, and his desire to protect the woman in the barbarous periods of pillage, lust, and war. There never will be complete equality until women themselves help to make laws and elect lawmakers. I stand and rejoice every time I see a woman ride by on a wheel. When a woman has a newspaper which fear and favor cannot touch, then it will be that she can freely write her own thoughts. I pray every single moment of my life, not on my knees but with my work. If women will not accept marriage with subjection, nor men proffer it without, there can be, no alternative. Many abolitionists have yet to learn the ABC of women's rights. Every woman should have a purse of her own. Modern invention has banished the spinning wheel, and the same law of progress makes the woman of today a different woman from her grandmother. I shall earnestly and persistently continue to urge all women to the practical recognition of the old revolutionary maxim. We have known how to make the noise, you see, and how to bring the whole world to our organization in spirit, if not in person. Away with your man visions. Women propose to reject them all, and begin to dream dreams for themselves. No self-respecting woman should wish or work for the success of a party who ignores her sex. My prayer is to lift women to equality with men. Independence is happiness. Marriage, to women as to men, must be a luxury, not a necessity, an incident of life, not all of it. Whoever controls work and wages, controls morals. To think, I have had more than 60 years of hard struggle for a little liberty, and then to die without it seems so cruel. She who succeeds in gaining the mastery of the bicycle will gain the mastery of life. The sense of independence and security is very sweet. Before governments were organized, no one denies that each individual possessed the right to protect his own life, liberty, and property. The picture of free, untrammeled womanhood. During this transition period, single women make comfortable and attractive homes for themselves. I hope the 20th century will see the triumph of our cause. Think your best thoughts, speak your best words, work your best works, looking to your own conscience for approval. Let me tell you what I think of bicycling. I think it has done more to emancipate women than anything else in the world. We formed it, not to give the blessings of liberty, but to the whole people, women as well as men. It was we, the people, not we, the white male citizens, nor yet we, the male citizens, but we, the whole people, who formed the Union. Join the Union, girls, and together say equal pay for equal work. I do not demand equal pay for any women save those who do equal work in value. I do not consider divorce an evil by any means. It is just as much a refuge for women married to brutal men as Canada was to the slaves of brutal masters. The women of this nation in 1876 have greater cause for discontent, rebellion, and revolution than the men of 1776. We throw to the winds the old dogma that governments can give rights. There shall never be another season of silence until women have the same rights men have on this green earth. You will ask and will accept, nothing less nor more because of your sex. The one distinct feature of our association has been the right of the individual opinion for every member. Make them understand you are in their service as workers, not as women. The prolonged slavery of woman is the darkest page in human history. Her best interests and happiness do not seem to have been consulted in the arrangements made for her protection. No man is good enough to govern any woman without her consent. Women, we might as well be dogs baying the moon as petitioners without the right to vote. The religious persecution of the ages has been done under what was claimed to be the command of God. Suffrage is the pivotal right. Cautious, careful people, always casting about to preserve their reputations, can never effect a reform. Another writer asserts that the tyranny of man over a woman has its roots, after all, in his nobler feelings. She has been bought and sold, caressed and crucified at the will and pleasure of her master. Trust me that as I ignore all law to help the slave, so will I ignore it all to protect an enslaved woman. But wherever the roots may be traced, the results at this hour are equally disastrous to a woman. There is no history about which there is so much ignorance as this great movement for the establishment of equal political rights for women. What an absurd notion that women have not intellectual and moral faculties sufficient for anything but domestic concerns. The only question left to be settled now is, are women persons? And I hardly believe any of our opponents will have the hardihood to say they are not. Being persons, then, women are citizens, and no state has a right to make any new law, or to enforce any old law, that shall abridge their privileges or immunities.